Greetings, YPA families. My name is Rebecca Kick, and I am the middle school principal here at York Prep. We are excited to be starting second semester with our students and wanted to use this time as an opportunity to send a few quick reminders out to our parents and families. I always like to start all of our conversations with our mission here at York Prep, which is to ensure that our students possess the knowledge, skills, character, and determination necessary to excel in their chosen post-secondary pursuits in their life. We focus most of our conversations with your students on this mission, really talking to them about what their next steps might be, what skills and experiences they might need in order to get prepared for that future, and also how their current choices and actions and reactions are potentially impacting their future career options. So that is part of our huge part of our conversations with our students, and we strongly encourage our parents to support us in those conversations and appreciate all of our parent partners who do that. To jump into our reminders, the first thing is going to be morning drop-off. Middle school students can be dropped off at the elementary, middle school, or student union buildings, which means they should not be dropped off in the high school or in any of our parking lots. Middle school drop-off begins at 7:45, so please make sure that your middle school student is not getting out of your car before that time, especially due to safety concerns. Once students do arrive, they report directly to homeroom. Then they will be given permission to go to breakfast if they choose to do so. Students should be seated in homeroom by 8:15 each day. And we definitely will work with students and families if we start seeing excessive tardies. Not only do tardies disrupt the classroom environment when students arrive late, but we also find that students tend to really struggle academically in classes if they are regularly missing content due to either full-time absences, tardies, or early dismissals. The other side of drop-off will be pickup in the afternoon. We typically start pickup around 3 o'clock in the middle school and student union on Monday through Thursday, and typically around 1:15 on Fridays. Car riders are dismissed from their homerooms, and so parents or family members who are picking up should go through their students' respective car line at their building, whether that be the middle school or the student union. Again, students should not be getting picked up in other buildings such as elementary or high school, and they should not be picked up in parking lots either. We dismiss bus riders and approved walkers at 3 o'clock. Students who are involved in after-school activities stay in homeroom, and then when their activity leader comes, we'll call for them to get dismissed. Again, students are not allowed to walk to other buildings without permission. That is a major safety issue. I know that sometimes when you're in our car lines, since we have multiple of them here at YPA, they can be a little challenging, and I know we all understand that you have different places that you need to be, but we encourage you to understand that it is definitely a benefit to attend YPA, because if you weren't here, your students would be attending different campuses, and you'd have to go through multiple car lines as well as drive the different distances between those campuses. So we encourage you to follow those rules, set good, model good example for your kids on following rules and procedures by following our car line protocols. As far as pickup goes, all car riders should be picked up by 3:30 Monday through Thursday and 2 o'clock on Friday. Now, our students transition between their classes, between core and related arts. Our expectation is that they report immediately to their next classes. Transitions within buildings should be quiet, and we expect no running, playing, yelling, or waiting around for other students. We use a Smart Pass bathroom system for our students during the school day. So students are not allowed to use the bathroom during transitions. They can get those passes once they are in their classes. If you see an unexcused tardy, pull it up for your student during the middle of the day, that means that they are probably not getting to their classes in a timely manner. So that could be something that you talk to them about. Attendance, this kind of goes in, as we've kind of already talked about, with bringing your kids to school and getting here in a timely manner. State law actually mandates attendance, so we follow the policies. So if you get a letter or have to come in for attendance conference, that is mandated specifically by state law, exactly what types of letters we have to send and conferences we have to have. So we appreciate when you just follow those and meet with us as is required. State law, though, mandates attendance because attendance is important for your students' education. But on top of that, attendance is one of your biggest ways to show your students that you value their education. I know we all talk to students about how important education is, but if we're regularly allowing students to not come to school or to come to school school late, then our actions are actually showing them that we don't value their education as much as we may say. So as is always the case, we want to make sure that we're modeling for our students exactly what we are telling them as well. Now, the state law does allow us to have a maximum of 5 parent notes. So that is when you have a lawful absence as a student illness. Make sure you send those in within 3 days of your student's return to school to attendance@yorkprepsc.org. We do also accept doctor's notes. Again, those should be sent within 3 days to the same email address. And once students return, it is their responsibility to make up all missed work. So they need to work with their teachers, collaborate with them to get any missing work. We typically ask that students complete work within 5 days of their return. However, if there's been an extended absence, students are able to work with their teachers to get some extended time. Cell phones. Students must have their cell phones turned off and in book bags from 7:30 to 3:30. Otherwise, they will be confiscated. And if it continues, then that cell phone will be banned from campus. We do allow students to have smartwatches, but they cannot be used as a cell phone. So if they're used as a watch, that's great. However, if students start trying to text or make calls on the smartwatch, or using it to record students or staff, then the smartwatches will fall under our cell phone policies. While we do require all students to have headphones to use in classes, the headphones must have a wire, so no ear pods are allowed. Now, if your student feels sick, they need to see the nurse. So we strongly encourage that if you get some sort of communication from your student that they're not feeling well, that you need to tell them to go see the nurse. Because that is the appropriate place for them to go. And then if the nurse believes that your student is indeed sick, they will be the ones that will contact you to come pick up your student. Additionally, any other communication, students should come to the front office. If you need to communicate with your student, instead of trying to contact them directly, since that will disrupt their learning day, you can call the front office. That's 803-324-4400, and the extension is 3100. Chromebooks policy. All of our students are assigned a Chromebook. They are responsible for the care and use of that Chromebook, so any damage or loss will result in financial charges. Chromebooks are monitored by Content Keeper, which tracks and prevents access to inappropriate content. We also use Land School, which is a way for our teachers to be able to monitor what our students are doing on their Chromebooks during the day. Chromebooks are a great resource for our students, and we know not all students understand how to use technology appropriately, but again, that's one of the skills that they'll need to learn in order to be successful in their future, and so that's what we're going to work with them on. Dress code policy. The full dress code policy is in the YPA family handbook. So full details, definitely check that out. Common issues that we see, we don't allow hats or head coverings in buildings. That also applies to sunglasses are not allowed in buildings. We simplified the dress code policy this year, so we asked that students have coverage from, if you draw a line straight from armpit to armpit, we should see no skin from armpits down to the fingertips. It's the simplest dress code policy we've ever had. And it helps ensure that our students, that's the next point, are not wearing clothes that are distracting to the learning environment. Shoes obviously should be worn at all times and ensure that they are safe for the school environment. So one thing that we sometimes see will be bedroom slippers. We need to make sure that those stay at home. If we see a dress code issue multiple times, we'll ask the students to change. If it continues to happen, then that's when we'll involve parents, and we may ask you to either come bring them a pair of clothes or to come pick them up. Mastery-based learning. We've been using mastery-based learning here in the middle school for years now. And just a quick reminder, there is a video about mastery-based learning on our website that goes into a lot more detail. But essentially, students, their lessons are focused specifically on identified objectives or skills from our standards. They'll have instruction, have opportunities to practice those skills, and then they'll do a mastery check, which will give them the opportunity to demonstrate mastery. All of our grades are evaluative. Are not evaluative. They're actually reflective of the student's learning process. And so when you see practice points and you're seeing like the numbers may be a little low, that's a great indicator that the student's not quite understanding the concept. And that's where we really encourage students to track their grades. And if they're not getting the grades that they want, that means they're not getting the mastery that we want them to have. And that's a great opportunity for them to reach out to their teachers. For mastery checks, we do give all students the opportunity to do either retakes or corrections once, because again, we want them to get to a mastery level, but that does involve actually doing some work, either working with the teacher to get more instruction, to get tutoring, to do some more practice before they take that retake or do those corrections. At the end of multiple units, students will combine multiple those skills that they've learned from different units into a test or a project. While grades are really meant to be a reflection of the student's mastery, work ethic does play a role. So if you ever see zeros for practice or for mastery checks, that means your student's really just not doing the work. And it's very difficult for obviously for us to understand where your student's mastery is if they're not making that effort. So if you see zeros, definitely talk to your students about work completion. Retention policy. Students may be considered for retention if they have 20 more absences, if they have a failing grade in any core course, or a failing grade in 2 or more related arts courses. We send out letters every quarter to families of students who may fall in this category so that we can kind of partner with you to make sure your student's on the right path. Students who are being considered for retention may be placed in summer school. And just to kind of give you a heads up, if your student is an 8th grader, we do have a wonderful 8th grade promotion ceremony at the end of the year. However, if your student is failing at that point in time, then they may not be able to participate in that ceremony. Textbooks and materials, we don't have a large number of textbooks, but your student is definitely assigned materials over the course of the school year. They are responsible for any materials assigned to them, and any loss or damage may result in financial charges. Now, behavior policy, this is a lot of times where our communication comes with families, is again, we're trying to get our students prepared for their